Good day everyone, especially to you Ma'am Elenita F. Corteza. I'm C. Teresa G. Halilutin from BSED English 1A. And today I'm going to answer the following question in Week 5 module in Linguistic 2. First is discuss how the following animals and insects communicate within their class or groups. First is ants. Scientists knew that ants must have some way to talk to each other in order to organize their intricate societies. Scientists know that ant communication must work in a fundamentally different way to ours. In 1962, A. Wilson began to crack the code. He noticed that ants of 10 tap their abdomen to the ground when traveling. If they were leaving some sort of chemical trail, he began painstakingly detecting fire and abdomen crossing each of the organs with an applicator stick. Then he spread the ants' juice in the piece of paper in front of the ants to see if they would react. The ant would no interest, but when he stumbled upon an organ that had never been studied before, which called the Dofor's gland. When he crossed this gland and spread it, the ants followed the trail immediately and completely. The scientist was discovered that are used for communication in different signals. Ants have created a complex phenomenal language. Some of their thoughts are expressed by spreading pheromones on the ground which combine a physical gesture. When they wishes to follow to that they have found food, they deposit a trail from the rectal gland while running from the food back to the nest. They wave their head and touch the other ants with their antenna. The second one is bees. Their method of communication aren't what you expect. They communicate via dance, and their dances can communicate to other. First, the directions, distance, and quality of food sources with the locations of possible new sites and sources of nearby dangers. And most surprisingly, they can even use their language to hold democratic debates. This type of collective behavior is so powerful, and connection between the bees is so profound that scientists are beginning to understand that bee colony act a lot like a single organism, in fact, a lot like a human brain. The third one is the elephant. In 1984, biologist Catherine Payne spent a week observing elephants at the zoo in Oregon. And she noticed something strange. You might hear elephants trumpeting and grunting before, but those noises are just fractions for the sounds they actually produce. Elephants to do most of their chatting and this low register as a faint throbbing in the air like silent thunder, but it wasn't under. She was feeling it was the elephant's secret language. We humans can only hear frequencies between about 20 Hz and 20,000 Hz sounds. Sounds below that range are called infrasonic. That infrasonic wave is where most elephant communication happen between around 14 and 35 Hz. Infrasound allow us to communicate over impressively long distances. Fourth is the whales. They have very different systems which may not fit into a prototype of a language. Their communication system is passed down through generations. Their behavior it seems to be coordinated. The whales exchange a stream of codes. Maybe their jump is a part of their communication, or they're just having fun. They typically use different call systems but are still able to communicate with each other when they meet up. The last but not the least is the dolphin. Their communication was represented some kinds of language. There is limitation to what kinds of signals dolphin can and will produce when there is a small tank. A dolphin have passed the test of self-awareness. The trick with dolphin communication is still knowing who's making the sounds. So if you really want to look dolphin to dolphin exchanges, you will be able to localize the individual that allows us to look at what dolphin is making the vocalizations at what time. There are three types of sounds they make. Frequently modulated whistle, and especially types of frequently modulated whistle is called as signatures whistle. Dolphin used it to just broadcast who he is and its name. The second one is the echolocations or sonar clicks, primarily used for navigating and hunting. Lastly is burst pulse sounds. These are social sound that would you hear during fighting, meeting, in the sort of things. Second is the explain why do parrots can talk like human. Parrots are vocal learners, meaning they grab sounds by hearing and then imitating them. Although several other birds, special species can stream and repeat sounds. Parrots are the pros, and parrots talk by modifying the air that flow over the string to make sounds. The string is located where the pitch spits into the lungs. Third is explain the features of human language which are present or visible with aves communication. As you know, at one point in our evolutions, apes and human came from the same ancestor. However, that evolutions entailed certain changes in the body of both species. Human apes to produce human-like sounds with their mouth, although they can learn to hear and respond to many spoken utterances and can talk back by using their hands. Apes are outclassed relative in nature, and it is not surprising that they attract a special attention. Many researchers have tried to teach apes to communicate with humans. The last is make a general comparison between human language and animal. Language is a system of rules and regularities that speaker is subconsciously master. They know that language is created, that language is system of finite number of elements and reduce. It allows you to produce an infinite numbers of sentences that express an infinite number of new ideas. We know that language is social, so that speakers talk differently in different situations and how you talk. So let's go to the main question about how human language different from animal communication. This is already discussed of one of the famous American linguists, Charles Hockett, the one who addressed these questions in a paper which called the problem of universal in language. He mentioned of what is the universal in human language and what features are shared by all human languages. He came up with a number of things that he called design features of languages. Is a structure traits that language have in common, and he contrasted with animal communication system. So that's all for today, mom. Thank you.